So life is full of circumstances that we can't control. This includes other people's behaviors and actions directed toward us or those that indirectly affect us. These circumstances could also be the death of a loved one, motor accident, loss of a job, financial crisis, or a medical diagnosis such as lupus. I've been talking more about the role of mindset since my near-death experience earlier this year. My health crisis was blamed on lupus when all along it was not lupus. I personally was going through a very hard emotional turmoil due to an argument with my mom, which escalated into something bigger than it needed to be. I've since decided to explore the emotional and mental issues that kept me spinning in this circle of misery for years and years. It wasn't until I was able to take a look at my thoughts about my mom that I was able to have resolution. This helped me to get beyond this emotional roller coaster that I know had a tremendous impact on my health. No doctor will agree with this, but even after 6 weeks of health struggles that led to 9 days in the hospital because of a complete shutdown of my immune system, I was not convinced that plaquenil toxicity was the sole cause of all this. The doctors could offer no explanation other than plaquenil toxicity. I do know the amount of stress I was under, and it coincided perfectly with the argument with my mom and the emotional suffering I had to endure during this time. So today, I want to explore the role of our minds, the emotions they create as the root cause of our disease, and what you can do about it. Thoughts and beliefs about lupus. Okay. So as a psychology major in college, I've always been fascinated by the human mind. I was interested in how it directs behavior and feelings, as well as how our behavior and feelings can directly affect us. Many of us have trauma in our lives that we've had to negotiate. For some of us, it may be minor, but others, it's major traumas that can result in feelings of shame, self-loathing, judgment, and fear. When such emotions become a mainstay in our lives, this creates interpretations in our minds about ourselves and our world based on the past traumatic event. Such interpretations are thoughts in our minds that are repeated over and over again to create beliefs. So our beliefs are extremely important because they become hardwired in our brains and become the operating system that drives all our feelings, actions, and the results that we create. So I want to mention a little bit something about cognitive bias. There's a concept in psychology called a cognitive bias. A cognitive bias refers to a systemic error in the thinking process. What does this mean? Well, it means we tend to live our lives validating our own biases and beliefs that are completely false. For example, I believe that my mom was not a good mom. Even though she raised me to be who I am today and continues to cook for me and nurse me when I'm sick, I believe she was not a good mom due to the trauma I had in my formative years. As a result, everything she does or says in the present is misconstrued as to validate my beliefs, even when she didn't intend it to be that way at all. So cognitive bias is applied in our lupus diagnoses as well. Anytime someone like me proves that you can live a successful and thriving life, feelings of resentment may come up because this is against your beliefs. You may not like me and everything I stand for because everything I do is to prove that you absolutely can take responsibility for your health. This might be very different from your beliefs about lupus. Most of us don't question our beliefs and the biases because they have become our operating systems. That's the problem. The more you practice and believe these beliefs, such neural circuits in your brain get stronger and stronger, so much so that you can't see outside of them. So, mental cleanse is an absolute thing that you must take time to do. Why is it important to question and clean out your mind and thoughts? Because life could look so much better. We all have homes that we live in, for example. We don't have to clean our homes at all. We can just live in it. But we clean because it makes our lives so much better and easier to handle, right? We never think this way about our mind and our brain. One of the most important things we need to do to take care of our brain is by cleaning up our mind clutter. We have over 60,000 thoughts a day that go unnoticed. With so much information biting for our time, there's no way to know which health regimen is right for us. This is where our brains have limited capacity to understand, so it gets overwhelmed with so much information. There are so many marketers who understand our behavior and thoughts, and they create information that appeals to us and distracts us day in and day out. It's not looking good for us. There's also a concept known as a selection bias. We humans have limited capacity to process information. When we select a choice for any decision in our lives, our brains start to become familiar with that choice. When we have to make that decision again, the same choice will be easier to make because our brains are already familiar with it. Over time, we start to defend and validate the same choice, even if this choice might no longer be serving us. Down the line, these choices start to form the thoughts and beliefs we have about ourselves. This is why we must clean up our thoughts. How do we do this? Well, you have to make a paradigm shift. We make decisions based on the thoughts we have. Remember, when thoughts are repeated enough, they create strong neural circuits that become our beliefs. Such beliefs are subconscious and are not easily detected by our conscious brain. That's why all the decisions that we make is very emotional. So let's talk about emotional metabolism. So most of us live our lives denying or suppressing our feelings. When we feel shame, regret, resentment, etc., they're usually because of a thought that we had that's been looped over and over again to become a belief in our neural circuitry. The problem is that the emotions we generate from anger, anxiety, shame, and fear, the negative emotions, creates negative vibrations in our body. More importantly, these negative emotions and vibrations tend to drive our actions. And the actions that we take in such negative emotional states are not very productive. As a lupus patient, it's vital to learn how to metabolize your feelings by learning to feel them. I've met so many of you who struggle with various circumstances that cause such negative feelings. When we have those feelings, it's important to understand your underlying thoughts that are triggering such feelings. While we can't change our circumstances in the moment, we have complete power to change the way we think to create better feelings, which then create actions that produce the results we want. Please know that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to clean your home or thoughts or listen to me. But one thing I do know for sure is that all doctors miss the impact of our mental clutter and mental health on our overall health. Left unexamined, it doesn't matter what we do. We will always create the result that validate our thoughts. Do you want to change the trajectory of your health and your life by changing the thoughts that's creating your results? Work with me. Our enrollment for Lupus Health Revolution is now open. We'll cover all your assumptions, your beliefs, feelings, and learn ways to shift and reprogram your most valuable asset, your brain. Our brains are the most powerful apparatus that we take for granted. And then I also have all the tools from functional medicine, physical therapy, nutrition to help you guide the way. Those are the easy things. So don't get bombarded about getting the information online about such tools. You have to change the way you think first to have impact with those tools, because it's all about applied knowledge. So let's revolutionize the way we live and create a life full of health and vitality despite lupus, because you can. So join me today. Click below for more information or sign up. And if you want to learn 3 secrets to thriving with lupus, click below to watch a free webinar. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to our newsletter on lupusrebel.com, our YouTube channel, Dr. Connie Jian, and our podcast, Health Made Easy, on iTunes. I would love, and it would mean so much to me if you can leave us a review on iTunes. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Lupus Rebel. Talk to you guys all soon.